Ba-ba-da-ba-ba. How we doing? How's it going? I had to say hi twice today. How unusual. Now we wait for chat to catch up with me, which always takes a minute or 3. There we go. There we go. There we go. Not 3 minutes, but, you know, a few seconds. That'd be kind of terrible if it took a few minutes. No, there's not a 3-minute lag. There's like a 15-second lag? Something like that? Something like that? I don't know. I don't know. It's been a while. Anyway, it's been a while. I've had a hell of a month. And it's only 2 weeks in. It's been a hot minute. It's been a hot minute. I've been extremely busy working on many things. Can someone answer me something, though? How is it that as soon as I decided to stop doing patch recaps for Genshin, that suddenly I got stuck doing so many recaps? Why do I have to do so many recaps? There's so many. I didn't want to do them anymore, and now I have to do them all the time. Anyway. Hopefully we can get back to some, theory-ish stuff soon. Yes? Yes? Yes. I have a couple ideas, for stuff to do. For theories, upcoming. Obviously the events of Paralogism, which we'll kind of talk about a bit today, were interesting. I definitely think if you haven't played the quest, obviously, spoilers, there's going to be spoilers here, so here's your one and only spoiler warning, although I kind of feel like the title of this stream is also a spoiler warning. So, you know. I definitely think the biggest drop in Paralogism is the whole truth behind the Heart of Nibarius thing. That's definitely the biggie. The biggin. Which just means that we've known the names of all of the shades since Fontaine. No, wait, no. No, just since, right, we didn't know Renova's until now then. Okay, so we now know all of the names of all of the shades. Well, assuming that the Sustainer of Heavenly Principles is one of the shades. You have to assume that for that statement to be true. If she's not one of the shades, then we don't know all of their names. We do? Yeah. We've got Istaroth for time, Renova for death, Nibarius for life, and if the Sustainer of Heavenly Principles is the shade of space, which she should be, or should at least possess the authority of space, then we know from data mines that her model's name is Asmodee, so she should be Asmodeus, which would mean that you've had Asmodeus, Nibarius, what's it called? I just blanked. Renova and Istaroth, or Astaroth. Why does she have a humanoid form? What do you mean? Oh, do you think that all the shades don't have humanoid forms? I think that's a bit of a misnomer. I think we're looking at it a little too simply if we look at Renova being like, oh, she's just some floating eyes in the sky. That's not Renova. That's like how Renova, peers into the world from wherever she is. It's her remote viewing application. It's like how Alice possesses a Dodoko, you know. Is Nibarius male or female? I'm going to assume that all of the shades are female. Because I'm just pretty convinced they're all female at this point. I don't think there's a male shade. Using eye drones, Asmodeus, Istaroth, Renova, Nibarius in that order of reveals. Yeah. That. Oh my god, there's so many questions, dude. Guys, what? Nah. So did I like the quest? I have mixed feelings on the quest, honestly. Like, on the surface level, it's a good quest. They did some really nice things with it in terms of its presentation. I liked the camera angles that they were using. I liked the way that they treated it like a battle. That was really cool. I am so conflicted on the fact that that quest relies on 2 limited events, one of which was like 3 years ago. I'm very conflicted on that. That's where they kind of lost me. Because, like, here's the thing. I don't mean to rant. Like, I'm fine with the events of the quest in terms of, like, what happened. I don't know how I feel about their decision to rely on limited event quests from literally years ago that, you know, some people may not play, some people may not have remembered, and there's no way to go back and view them except for YouTube archives. So you just kind of have to rely on what was told in the quest. And so, like, throughout the quest, I was kind of sitting there like, okay, if I hadn't played these quests, how would I be perceiving the events right now? Like, do they make sense? Does it feel like this stuff came out of nowhere? And, like, yeah, it kind of does. It didn't feel good to view it in that way. It feels good as someone who played through those. Like, it was very rewarding for me to be like, oh my god, Simulunka is back. And be like, oh my god, it's Durin too. We'll miss you, Dorian. But you know, it's such a weird decision to do that. And also to not make those quests in particular playable to the people who never got to play them. Like, even okay, because think of it this way. Even if they don't make all of the limited quests available to play, if they made the limited quest storyline available to play when they came back up into relevance within the main story, I think that would be a way to ease them into becoming permanent content again. And it would also give people a way to experience the stuff that has been technically lost, right? So, I don't know. Like, like I said, I have real mixed feelings on Paralogism from that perspective. You know what I mean? Like, there was just a lot of ways that they could do that, and I don't think that I feel like they took the... I'm gonna be rambling about a lot of stuff today, just as an FYI. I'm gonna be going over a lot of stuff, and some of it's gonna be, like, not so much lore related, but more, like, meta storytelling, company direction related. One of the things that I wrote, I actually went through the Nod-Krai video and took notes. Because I want receipts so that I can prove I'm not crazy. One of the things that they said in that Nod-Krai video is that it's very easy for them to forget the player's perspective, that they have more information than the player does, and it's very easy to forget that they have more information than the player does. And when I say they, I mean like the developers and the writers and that kind of stuff. So, given that they said that in the Nod-Krai video, where they were justifying making this whole new region that we had never really heard of prior to Natlan. It was prior to Natlan. Well, anyway, the point is they kind of developed this whole region that they didn't originally have planned. And in that video, they're just like, well, we forgot how much the player doesn't know that we actually know, and, you know, there's a disconnect there. And I'm looking at it going, well, like, then if you knew that already, why did you do that with Paralogism? Right? Like, if you forgot all of this stuff, like, does that, like, why did they make those decisions for Paralogism then? That's what I don't really understand. I actually don't know how to get this chest. Do I just swim over to it? Oh, yes, I do. Okay. Cool. Anyway, that was like kind of that's what just one of the things that bothers me. There feels like a real disconnect there for me between what the developers say they're trying to do and then how it actually comes across. And then they say they're aware of it, but their actions don't quite match their words. And I don't know if they're aware that it doesn't match, which is like a whole separate discussion. But yeah, like that was like the big thing that kind of got to me. But lots of good stuff in there, honestly. Maybe a translation inconsistency? I don't think so. Do I think Durin will have any parallels to Ochkan? I mean, he kind of already does. He's a child of humans and dragons, right? Well, yeah, kind of. A dragon that chose to be human, which is basically what Ochkan was. So in that way, you could kind of look at it as Durin and Ochkan being similar in that respect. I think that's more than reasonable. It's so annoying that you can't auto-target these. Why? I feel like that had to do with the Yaimiko bug fix. It didn't. I don't know. Paralogism has likely been in the works for months, if not the better part of the year, with a lot of the room to change. Nod-Krai lets them pause the story to recalibrate. Yeah, listen. I don't buy that. I don't buy that at all. And the main reason is because they've been aware of their issues since 2.0. They've known about all of these issues with their pacing and what the player knows versus what they know, and like how they're not really doing the best they possibly can to convey, you know, all of the stuff that they want to. They've known that since 2.0. Some of them. Why 2.0? Because that's when all of the complaints started. I can give a bit more of a nuanced feedback on that, actually. The thing about 2.0 is, if you think about the way that Genshin was expecting players to interact with its story and its world and stuff, they really wanted people to read things. They wanted people to like look through the artifacts, comb through weapon descriptions. They wanted people to do that. They designed their game in a way for them to do that, right? Like that was kind of like the initial intention. Whether it was a good idea or not is irrelevant for this argument here. I have mixed feelings on it in general. But a lot of Inazuma's premise being able to understand Inazuma's story and its implications and that kind of stuff relied entirely on information that wasn't available. Like, you had a whole thing about vision hunt decrees and whatnot, and you didn't have any lore about the visions whatsoever beyond, oh, a vision represents ambition. Okay, and then what? And then what? That was it. That was it. That was literally it. There was nothing else. They introduced delusions. They told us nothing. They introduced visions, taught us nothing. Like, and then for a second story quest, it's like all about Irminsul. and Irminsul related style things and fate and whatnot, but you don't really understand any of that until Sumeru. Like, the word Irminsul is not mentioned in the main plot of the game until Sumeru, when it becomes, presumably, more relevant. But it was actually relevant a lot, like, way before then. And Hoyo knew that. They just chose not to do anything about that, is the thing. And, like, we can argue that, oh, well, maybe they didn't have time. You know, like, I kind of forgive Inazuma a bit because I know that they went from, I think, like, a 400-person development team to, like, a 1,700-person company or something like that, which is kind of insane. And they did that, like, in the span of Inazuma. So, like, I get it. I get that. Like, that might have been hard to go back and do that kind of stuff, but I feel like when you have persistent problems that have been there for many years, and then you decide many, many years later that, you know, the only way to fix it is to do something that you've never actually planned on doing initially, like, that feels weird to me. And I may be alone in that, and if I am, that's okay. I just feel like they've known for a long time because the signs were there. They've talked about it before in developer interviews. They've made incremental strides of improvement here and there, but they've never quite pulled it off. But Starfan, thanks for the super. Thanks for making this game more enjoyable for me. Oh my god, I'd feel really bad having you say that while ranting about the developers. Yeah, no, it's just one of those things, you know what I mean? It feels odd. It feels odd. Because, like, what's another way to explain this in, like, a way that makes sense to more people than me? If you look at it from, like, a lore perspective, in terms of doing more show, don't tell, and putting the lore more front and center, in the main plot and stuff. If you want to argue that they think they've gone too slowly or whatnot, then, like, technically speaking, Fontaine is wasted. Like, Fontaine is almost entirely wasted plot-wise. In terms of being able to further those goals. But Fontaine's still a good story. It's just, you know. Wasted how? Think of it this way. What did we learn in Fontaine about, like, the greater scheme of things? The one thing that we learned in Fontaine was, like, Narwhal, and there was a dragon. And now the dragon rules Fontaine. That's, like, the main thing that we learned in Fontaine, which, like, to spend an entire year and that's, like, the global scale of what it is that you're conveying to your player base, that's weird to me. To then turn around and in the next nation say, oh, you know, we went too fast. I'm like, I don't quite think that's what happened. Doesn't feel like that's what happened. We met Skirk as well. Yeah, but the thing is like, this is kind of the point, though. We met Skirk. We saw the Narwhal. And that was literally it for Fontaine. Oh, I'm sorry. I missed a couple of things while I was on my tirade. Viridian Fox, thank you for the super. Can't stay, but be sure to come back. Best wishes. Hey, you too. Aroma Prism, thank you for the super. Better metaphor for my earlier statement is that Hoyo tries to combine Xenoblade and FromSoft writing and fails at both. Is it a failure? I don't know that it's a failure necessarily. I think this is a question of commitment. And what kind of players you're trying to cater to and what your overall vision for the game is. I have a theory, a corporate theory as to why things are going this way. I love analyzing companies. It's a weird hobby. I read 10Ks in my spare time. What little spare time I do have, you'll often find me eating lunch, reading a company 10K. I watch earnings calls. Like we're not gonna go into that too much. The thing is like I really like the inner workings of companies. So I've been paying a little too much attention to what Hoyo's doing on the company side of things. So not just in Genshin, but like across all of their games. And there's some interesting patterns that I think gives you a bit more insight as to why Nod-Krai is here. Because I don't think it actually has anything to do with feeling like they missed out on lore. I don't think it has anything to do with feeling like they went too fast. I don't think they forgot the player perspective. I don't think they want to get rid of the information gap. I don't think it's any of that. I really don't. Because if that was really the goal, they've had most of this feedback for at least 3 years. They had plenty of time to implement it. So you have to ask yourself, if they've had all of this kind of feedback about how the game is presented and how lore is inaccessible and all that kind of stuff, and they didn't do anything about it until this year, what changed in that time? Right? Isn't Nod-Krai just about extending Genshin's lifespan? See, now this is an interesting question. I have to add one very large disclaimer to something, okay? I am not going to shit on Nod-Krai as like a region or an idea or any of the lore that's going to happen there. I frankly, like, that's, to me, a non-issue. If they want to make a whole new region and give us all this lore, like, I'm happy to take it. I'll eat it right up. No problem. In fact, making lore accessible makes my job a lot easier because I don't have to spend nearly as much time combing through things, trying to piece very bizarre pieces of information together into something that's coherent, right? Like, I don't have to spend 20 minutes explaining things to somebody just to explain an idea I had about something, right? Like, if lore is more accessible, then I can just be like, here, it said it right here. I don't have to explain this because it's just can't. I just went in a circle. It's already canon. So, like, it saves me so much time and so much effort. Like, I'm not against that at all. So I don't want anyone to take this as like, I'm actually shitting on Nod-Krai. I find the timing of Nod-Krai to be interesting. That's more where I'm at. Fun. Kirk A, thank you for the super. Are there unresolved aspects of the plot that you're concerned will stay unresolved at the end game post Nezhnaya? No, this is connected to the other thing I was just saying, which is why I wanted to pause and read this for a second. Here's the thing. I am not convinced of the fact that loose threads need to be tied up, and I don't think they need to be tied up right away. I don't quite understand, and maybe this is because I have an information gap, like the writers and the developers are saying. That's very possible, but I don't quite understand this need to close the information gap. That doesn't make sense to me. Because give you a metaphor, or else this isn't going to make any sense. How many of you have actually watched a magician's performance? Like, gone to a magic show? Or seen, like, you know, like a guy doing card tricks or something, and it makes him look like a psychic. How many people have you seen those? I mean, I'm sure you guys have at least all seen someone do a magic trick at least once, right? Even if it was just on YouTube, like, that's fine too. You don't have to see it live. The thing about magic tricks is that what makes them astounding isn't the trick itself, it's that you don't know how the trick works. And that's because magic tricks operate on an element of mystery. The fact that they occupy your mind space for so long is because you don't understand them. And that element of mystery keeps you coming back and wanting to watch it again and again and again and figure out, how did they do that, right? Now, storytelling is very similar in that the knowledge gap between the author and the reader, in this case, is very, very important. And in fact, it can make or break an entire story. Because if you reveal things too quickly, the mystery is gone, people lose interest, they want to move on to the next thing. But if you reveal things too slowly, they will also lose interest and want to move on to the next thing. But if you also reveal everything, people stop caring, right? People stop talking about it. So the element of mystery that you keep within your story is critical for your story to hold readers' attention. And I think, this is just my opinion, I think that tying up all loose ends in one region before going to the final region doesn't sound like a great idea to me. And that is one thing that I do think could be like a slight mistranslation, you know, like some nuance lost in translation, right? Like, if you were to say, for example, maybe they don't say all loose ends. Maybe they're just like saying the important loose ends that we've forgotten about. Maybe that's more what they meant. But if it really is all loose threads, or that they just have too many and they want to wrap up as many as possible, I think that is an error of judgment on the storytelling part. And the reason I think that is actually because of Genshin's lifespan. I want you to think about something for a second. We've had a roadmap for Genshin since day one, right? We've had a roadmap. Some people like it, some people don't, whatever. Doesn't matter. What actually does matter is the fact that there should be a story after Teyvat, right? Like, there should be a story after Snezhnaya. And I'm sitting here going to Snezhnaya and getting the final gnosis and doing whatever it is that the Tsaritsa wants to do and whatnot, I don't necessarily know that would make it so that everything else in Teyvat stops mattering. I don't think it makes it so that, you know, all of the mysteries need to be resolved right then and there. Because, like, if you are to... Sorry, this is hard to articulate in real time. When Hoyoverse ended, Honkai Impact Third's first story, so like part 1 is how they called it. When they ended part 1, just over there that I missed. Over here. When they ended part 1, they basically left Earth and then they went to other planets. And so now, all of the story and the lore and everything is on all of these other planets. And I think that one of the only things that they can do with Teyvat going forward is to go to, well, if Teyvat is just a planet, then they're going to go to other planets. But if Teyvat is like a continent, then we're going to go to other continents. But the thing is you're still going to want to go back to Teyvat, right? So why would you want all of your mysteries for Teyvat, like all of the big ones, solved? Why wouldn't you want to just solve the ones that are most relevant to your current plot line and keep those greater mysteries for the future? Like, to me, it makes way more sense. And again, I have a knowledge gap between what the developers are planning for Snezhnaya, so I could be totally off base on this. But it makes way more sense for me to put Nod-Krai after Snezhnaya, because you need to finish up your current storyline and then raise the stakes. And I feel like Nod-Krai is raising the stakes before you finish the storyline, and it doesn't quite feel right pacing-wise. Does that make sense? You need a reason to come back. You need a reason for that world to still be interesting to you. And I also think that the way that Genshin approaches its lore and history is quite realistic. Like, I don't want to know the whole truth about what happened to every god in the Archon War. I just don't. I want to have a good idea of what happened, but the thing is like, a lot of the intrigue is because there's so much we don't know about them. Right? That's like the whole thing I was saying about the mysteries and figuring out your timing. But that's kind of like where I'm at with Nod-Krai as a whole, I think. It's less about the region itself and more about the... I'm a little wary of the choice of direction that they're taking. Like, I do want lore to be more accessible. I would like it to be more accessible. But there does need to still be a balance, and I feel like there's an opportunity for a lot of it to get lost in the process. There's also going to be Khaenri'ah chapter after Snezhnaya. Yeah, but like, I feel like Nod-Krai and Khaenri'ah feel a little bit better to tie together, in my opinion. Here's another thing, too. I doubt they're wrapping up everything in Nod-Krai. Them certain lore points are at least the ones needed for 7.x. See, I still think, like, moon-related stuff probably should have come after Snezhnaya, because it would have raised stakes. Like, you could have been like, okay, we learned about dragons and aliens in Fontaine, I guess. We learned about Irminsul and Sumeru, and we're going to learn about the Abyss in Natlan, and we can learn about the moons in Snezhnaya, and then onwards or something like that. It feels weird. It feels... I just think it would be better, hype cycle-wise, to put Nod-Krai after Snezhnaya. Because you put something unexpected after the expected. Whereas right now they're putting something unexpected before the expected, and I feel like that's going to decrease hype for Snezhnaya. That tends to be how that goes. But again, I mean, when I say that, I'm not really working with a full deck. Obviously, I'm not on the dev team. I do have some inside knowledge. Some of it I'm allowed to talk about. Some of it I probably shouldn't. So, a little that, but... So you would say it's better to leave things untouched and ignored? No. But you do have to ask the question about why they're doing it now. Because, like, one of the reasons I took like a week to not do any Genshin stuff because I wanted to think about things kind of just on my own and let it sit, you know? And it's like, how do I explain this in a good way? Suggesting Nod-Krai to be like part 1.5 and HI third, I think. Yeah, I guess so. trying to think about how to word this well. Hold on, sorry. I've missed. Well, while I think about how I'm gonna word this and let that sit, I'm gonna answer some first for a second. Noxus, thank you for the super. Hi, it's been a while since I could catch a live. Are you gonna pull for the non-quantum abyss woman? I don't know. I do think it's funny though, because like there's been this theory for like a really long time that Dainsleif is actually ether from the future or like an alternate reality or whatever. And people are just like, well, like, where's Lumine then? And then Skirk shows up and she honestly looks like Lumine quite a bit. And I think it would be really, really funny if that ended up being the case where Dainsleif is like Abyss Ether and then Lumine ends up being Skirk. I don't think that's actually what they're trying to do. I just think it'd be really funny. I don't think it's in the cards necessarily. I think it's funny. Am I pulling for her though? I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I have mixed feelings about her too. Mixed feelings about her too, but I don't, I mean, we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. Right now, she's kind of one-dimensional. And I kind of want to see if they're going to make Durin playable, because if Durin's playable, then he's my priority. Sorry, Skirk fans. Just the way of the world. There's nothing up here. I'm just sitting on rock for funsies. Michael, thank you for the super. Do you think Durin's possible new arc is also a way to introduce Wanderer into the main plot and start his own next plot line? I really hope so. I don't know about bringing him back into the plot necessarily. I do think... Oh, that's not an enemy. It's just, well, I don't think necessarily that it's going to bring it back into the plot, but I think it's interesting that in like Simulanka, Albedo was like, hey, we're going to need your help with Durin and whatever. And I think a lot of us, I know I did at least, assumed that was going to be like helping us with reviving him. And that was not the direction they took. Instead, they were like, nope, we're going to have Albedo perform alchemy and transmute him into a human. And if you've ever watched Full Metal Alchemist or read it because you're an old person like me, then you know human transmutation is a pretty sketchy deal. But instead, I do think it looks like it's going to be more of a... I think it's more realistic to assume that Wanderer will become a means through which Durin reconciles the dark part of himself with the rest. You know what I mean? Because like Wanderer's whole story was about accepting himself, the good and the bad. So for him to be the choice to help with Durin, it just seems like it would be a really good allegory or like a good partnership. I think that would work out really well. And actually, I feel like those two might be two of the only people who would be able to like really actually empathize with each other. Not just sympathize, but empathize. There's a difference. Because they would have gone through the same thing. Also, if Durin's wings work, then they can both fly together, which I think is really cool. I think that's awesome. This is off topic. Do you like Wicked? I love Wicked, but not the movie. I like the musical. I'm a musical junkie. Okay. When I was taking a few days off of Genshin because I needed a break because I did not want to get burned out. I'm working really hard to not get burned out, and I'm really trying to make some changes into the type of content I make and when I make it, and all that other kind of stuff because I want to play games for fun. I want to have fun and I want to share the fun with everybody else. You know, like that's kind of the goal here. So I took some time off and I remodeled my kitchen. My house is literally a construction zone. I am sitting here currently covered in drywall dust because I had to remud half the wall. And I had to sand it this morning so that I can paint it tomorrow. But the whole time I've been doing all of my construction work, I've had Pandora Internet Radio playing musicals. I have a custom musical channel. I love it. I can basically recite all of the songs from Wicked, verse for verse. Is it a DIY job? Oh yeah, hell yeah. Well, the only thing I can't do is the countertops. I'm getting those custom cut because even if I can cut stone, I can. If I just got the right blades, I have the tools to do it. I can't move those huge pieces of stone. They're heavy. I can't do it myself. I gotta have someone else do it. So that's the only part that I'm having somebody else do. But yeah. Anyway, that was a little anecdotal thing. Pandora Radio's still around? Yeah, I prefer it because I'm an old person and I like radio. I don't like Spotify. I saw one question. What do I think of the whole shade being swallowed thing? We're gonna come back to the Nod-Krai stuff in a little bit. I want to kind of catch up on fun stuff for a bit and we'll circle back. What do I think of the whole shade being swallowed thing? I think you are what you eat and that emergency food is lore. Okay, this is actually really funny. This is really funny. I need to go find this theory I saw on Reddit. Someone shared it on Discord. It was a really fun theory on Reddit. Someone was making the case that the Hexen Circle are all sentient mold. Which is a hilarious premise. And I thought it was a really fun theory when it was written. But it was written before Paralogism. And I think it was mostly based, if memory serves, like it was kind of based on that Little Witch and the Undying Flame book. Because that book has this whole thing about this very special kind of mold. It can like change your form and stuff. So they were just like, yeah, they're fungi. And they were comparing how a Dodoko looks compared to, you know what? I feel like this is going to be really hard to explain why this is really funny if I don't show you the thing that I'm talking about. Hold on. You gotta go back to Sumeru for a minute. Let's see if I can find it a little room. See if my memory of Sumeru's landscape is still good. I don't know if it actually is. Probably not. It's been a hot minute since I've run around this place. Oh no, there's one. There's one. Swap characters here. Da, 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 da. Going somewhere with this. I'm actually just explaining. Okay. Do you see these little guys? Do you see them? Those are creatures. See their eyes? They're blinking. You see little guys? Those are fungus. Little fungus creatures. And this theory was like pointing out how this is like kind of similar to a Dodoko. Right? And do you guys did you guys not know this? Okay, hold on. One moment, please. You can actually like hurt and energize these guys. Oh, I think it's the maybe it's Pyro that does it. I don't know. You can affect these guys. They're actually like part of the reason why the shrooms do the things that they do. It's in the tutorial and all that. But anyway, the point that they were trying to make is like, hey, look, this guy looks like a lot like the Dodokos, right? And then they went on to make this whole theory about how the Hexen Circle looks like sentient mold. And I thought that was really funny because when I was on my emergency food is lore kick, and I was talking about that, a lot of that was based on mushrooms and fungus and wine and yeast and the Eucharist and everything else. And how like consuming Paimon was like similar to the whole consecrated beasts, you know, because the whole thing about consecrated beasts is that like they ate god remains and then they got those gods' powers. So like this whole thing with Rhindaughter eating a shade of life and then getting the shade of life's power and authority doesn't surprise me at all. Plus, it also works with the idea that visions are akin to dragon pearls or even Xianxia cores, cultivation cores, because you eat cultivation cores to get the power of those cores. And if you eat a dragon's pearl, you become the dragon. So like expected. Anyway, that's kind of the whole thing. I will find the theory because it's actually really good and you guys should read it. Honestly, if you just went to Reddit and looked up Hexen Circle as sentient mold, I think you'll find it. Like it'll like be the top search result. It's really good. You should read it. It's not mine. I just feel the need to clarify. It is not my theory. It is somebody else's theory, and I'm quite endeared to it. Anyway, you sent it if you want to pin it. Oh wait, where did you send it? Oh, there it is. Ta-da! I hate this theory. Thanks. Anyway. I think it's fun. See, these are the things I like about Genshin is all of these little, like when you pay so much little attention to detail like that, when you really kind of get stuck into it and people notice these little things, that's some of the stuff that I think makes Genshin really special. And that's like the one thing I never want this game to lose. Because that element of mystery where you're hovering in between the possibility of them actually being sentient mold and then not being sentient mold, like Schrodinger's fungi, like that is the coolest place to be, in my opinion. So I think absolutes are fine sometimes. I think some things obviously need to be absolute or else you have no frame of reference to work with. But I do think you have to be very careful when you have such an in-depth world building like this, because very easily destroy that delicate balance. Like the one thing I don't want to happen. With synth Lumeline, the hallucinogenic shrooms, the stuff the Traveler was on at the beginning of Sumeru, and the magic leaf that made Yoimiya see the R&R, do you think Teyvat has a drug problem? It's interesting, though, because, like, when it comes to hallucinogenics and psychedelics, a lot of them are used in religious functions, right? Like, a lot of them are used in mythological settings. Got a lot of folklore about that kind of stuff, you know? A lot of rituals are done under the influence of some sort of substance or another. I mean, I think any society that's going to have a really rich religious or even like just like a celebratory culture with rituals and festivals and that kind of stuff, they're all going to have some dependency on that kind of stuff. Do I have any opinions on Durin's human design? I hope he's Electro because that'd be so freaking funny. It would be so funny. Oh my god. Wait, how come this isn't showing up? Hold on. To brush my thing. Hold on. Second, please. Okay. For some reason, my supers is not showing up on my super list. Odd. Anyway, Euclids! Thank you for the super. This stream functions as your English 102 course. Please add a membership to add the credit to your transcript. I will teach you a course in writing fiction. There's like, out of all the myriad of hobbies that I have, I think stories in general are like my biggest thing. I love stories more than just about anything else. So I get really stuck into them. Doesn't matter what the medium is. It can be a game. It can be a book. It can be... Why am I in here? I don't know why I'm in here. Okay. We'll chill in here. Fine. Yeah, bouncy, bouncy. It can be a movie. It can be a musical. It can be an ARG. Like, I friggin' love the shit out of stories in general. I get really stuck into them. Yeah. I probably take them. Even beyond just like enjoying aspects of the story being told, I get really stuck into the weeds and really fascinated by the science of crafting stories, and will find me getting like extremely nerdy about that kind of thing. Yuld, thank you for the super. Her lore says she was plucked from fate, kind of like it's being obfuscated. Are you talking about Skirk? I'm sorry, this was a while ago. I think you're talking about Skirk. Skirk. Okay, here's something weird about Skirk. I'm gonna have to tread back into rant territory to talk about this, actually. I say rant. It's not really a rant. It's more like I have an opinion that's a little bit nuanced that the internet might not like. It's not exactly a rant. I'm not really ranting. I'm not angry or upset. It's just a little eye-rolly sometimes. Obfuscated from fate. Guys, how many of you actually play through Amphorius? In Star Rail? Like, be honest. How many of you actually play Honkai Star Rail right now? How many of you have played through even the first part of Amphorius? Even if you're not up to date, like, how many of you have just played through that? Okay, so it's kind of a mixed bag. Seems like most of you, though. Okay. Well, then, I'm sure that a lot of you have probably noticed that, HSR, and specifically Amphorius, is very Teyvat flavored in a lot of ways, right? It's very Teyvat flavored. And the thing is, Amphorius is a world built on memories. Genshin is a game that focuses heavily on the importance of memories. And Black Swan is a memo keeper. She doesn't really have a real body. Her body is made out of memoria, so to speak. She's got like a incorporeal form. In Star Rail, memories generally take more of a liquidy sort of form in the form of memoria. But they can often crystallize. And when they crystallize, they look a hell of a lot like the narwhal and Skirk, like her legs. Something I can't help but notice is just how Memo Keeper-ish Skirk is. In the sense that, like, she feels like she has a body that's been made out of crystallized memoria. Like, if you put her in Star Rail, I would mark her as someone from Fuli's faction. You know what I mean? The fractured mirrors and stuff. Yeah, like she's got the mirrors and stuff in her splash art. Background is like Dane. Her background is a stylized version of the generic no affiliation background. I don't necessarily know that it's specifically Dane's. Back down. I was having fun down here. RCU multi-level maps. They slightly changed how she looks since 4.2. Yeah, they did adjust her dress a bit. But like just like her legs and stuff, the crystallized nature of it, like all of the crystalline mirrors and everything, like it is very, very Memoria crystallized memory kind of thing. And see, part of the thing that gives me pause about Nod-Krai has nothing to do with Genshin. It actually has nothing to do with Genshin. It has everything to do with Star Rail. I think Hoyoverse made a pretty big mistake when they... Oh, this is going to be such a hot take. I'm so sorry. But I think they made a mistake making Star Rail. And the reason is because Hoyoverse appears to have wanted to try and create a multiverse of sorts, hence the Hoyoverse. Now, this isn't inherently a bad thing, but multiverses work because you have an element of mystery on how they're connected and how they work. You know, like, if you can hop from one universe to another, it's still, like, very incorporeal, that space in between. The problem with Star Rail is that Star Rail is that space between. It is the knowledge gap, right? It is the point at which every other world in the Hoyoverse will converge onto. And what that means is that, fundamentally speaking, at its core, all of the lore and all of the mechanics will eventually circle back to Star Rail. And I don't know if that's a good thing. Right? The moment that they put it wasn't the Astral Express in Simulanka, but like the Star Train. The moment they put that Star Train in Simulanka, I was like, oh, okay, so they're actually gonna make Genshin quite a bit like Amphorius, where it's probably a world built entirely of memories existing somewhere in the cosmos of Star Rail, essentially. Like, they're gonna do it. I thought they'd keep them separate. The separation adds so much more mystery and ability to question what could be out there, and that's kind of like what keeps you searching for more lore and paying attention and being like, well, what's the next step? What's the next step? How does this escalate? The problem is like, we kind of know that if Genshin is in the Hoyoverse, then it is in the Star Rail universe, which means that eons are the end game. I don't know how I feel about that. I have a real... it's a real mixed bag, you know? Like, I don't have a firm opinion on it. I don't necessarily know if it's a good thing. Guess we're just gonna have to wait and see. But that is one of the reasons that it gives me pause for Nod-Krai. And maybe it's hard for some people to see why I'm making that connection, but like in my brain, all of this is kind of interconnected, and I'm hesitant. Genshin and Star Rail hasn't really mixed yet. I think it's mixed a lot more than you think it has. A lot more than you think it has. Oh, holy shit. Spike Bebop, I'm sorry. Jesus, thank you for the very generous super chat. That was unnecessary, but greatly appreciated. Sheesh. I say that being... I can't read. You say that Nod-Krai being a year patch feels odd, but in my opinion, it can help flesh out factions such as the Hexen Circle, Treasure Hoarders, and Fatui Harbingers. Do you think if it can help make previous factions in Teyvat and Nod-Krai more interesting? I think there's something called trying to do too much at a time. So one of the reasons I keep getting stuck in recap hell, like I just keep having to make recaps, is because lore comes at us now at such a speed that I barely have time to theorize before the stuff I wanted to theorize about has already been solved. And we're already moving on to the next quest, the next thing. And it's going so quickly now that like the best I can do these days is like recap and an analysis of it, you know? I don't necessarily know that we need a whole region to flesh out these factions. That's another thing. I feel like if they felt like if they really truly do feel like the story is moving too fast and they want to make changes to it, the reason why they made a whole region was specifically for hype cycle. Because it's really hard to get players excited for, you know, just filling in lore gaps. It's very difficult, if not almost impossible. I hate piloting these things. I don't want to do this. I'm so bad at these. Wanna die. I don't like them. I don't wanna. Oh. Hey, I'm dying on land. That's not fair. That's rude. Like, do we need to go to Nod-Krai to figure out anything about the treasure hoarders? I'm not convinced. I mean, the witches are headquartered in Mondstadt for the most part so far. So do we really need Nod-Krai for them? I'm not convinced of that either. I'm gonna come back and do this later. I hate using the friggin'... I don't like the Tatanka-saurs. They don't control comfy. Like them. They're very cute. I just don't like piloting them. Like the Wild Hunt, the Lightkeepers, you know, like I get those. Those make sense to me. That's totally fine. I'm on board with those. It's just like some of the other ones I'm just like, but why? And maybe it'll make more sense later, but like I don't know that the treasure hoarders need to be super deep. Like, couldn't you just put them into a quest somewhere? Do they have to be part of a whole new region? I don't know. It doesn't feel necessary, I guess is what I'm saying. If you're gonna cover multiple regions, I would say it's better to do it all in one place. Yeah, you could say that. But they could have also been, over the last year and a half, addressing each of these factions in their own little quests. Round the rosy, a pocket full of phlogiston, ashes, ashes, the world burns down! Good. All right. Remember, asking for chests. Have I shared my thoughts about the song that was played in the script marketing video shorts before they changed it? I don't think I heard it. I don't usually watch the shorts. I guess maybe I should now. Hey, but are you sure they're going to reveal the... Right, the whole thing moved on me. Am I sure they're going to reveal the mystery in Nod-Krai? I mean... Yeah? I would assume they will? It'd be kind of weird if they didn't. Wait. She's upsy. Down. Okay. I see. We're playing the elevation game, I see. Oh, it's over there. That's... Oh, wait, no, that's not the same one. I don't know where I'm going, but I found a chest. Give me my dopamine! It's clear it would be... in my opinion, going to Shinai at 6.0 would be a bigger mistake than Nod-Krai. It's clear it would be rushed like Inazuma. The thing is, they're all going to be rushed. That's the thing. There's way too many plot lines that they haven't even touched on. Like, Durin is like one of the smaller ones, right? And even that's a 4-hour quest. Like, the sheer amount of loose ends and threads that they've planned. Like, every nation has, like, 6 really big loose threads and quests and things like that, you know? So, like, if they wanted to do it all justice, like, that's a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff. I'm just not convinced that they'll... I'm not convinced that they'll do it in such a way. I don't know. I don't know. I could be completely off base. I mean, I could be totally wrong about it. And honestly, I hope I am. I hope I am wrong about it. I hope I'm very wrong about it. The Electro Sovereign. Yeah, where the hell is that? I mean, I still think it's very possible it could be A, because that'd be so freaking funny. It would make Durin and Wanderer even more similar. Well, if that's not the most wholesome thing, do we kill them? What if we, like... Violence! No toasters in the bathtub, kids. Have I read the finale of the Deep Galleries artifact sets yet? Yeah, I've read everything. I'm up to date. I've done everything. It's just that this is what I'm talking about. Like, in the past, like, having the finale of the Deep Galleries set would have been, like, a patch worth of lore. You know what I mean? Like, it would have been something I could have sat there and sunk my teeth into, but instead, I still haven't friggin' done my analysis of the Ochkanatlan and Tullen quests. You know? I still haven't done the Beginner's Guide to Fontaine, because I am that behind. Like, it's pretty bad. That's like the one thing. That's actually like on the content creator side. Like, that's the one thing that annoys me. It's just the speed at which information comes is greatly exceeds the speed at which I can make anything worth consuming. I have to add that. I can make things very fast. It's just like they won't be worth anything. You know, like they're not going to be worthwhile to listen to. I want to fight the blisters. What if I don't fight the blisters? Oh, then the blisters fight me, I guess. I guess that makes sense. Eh. Where am I on the burnout scale right now? Hope you're having a healthy time for yourself. I'm doing okay. Honestly. Doing okay with it. I think I mostly just needed a break. And I'm gonna have to drop a game. Is really what it comes down to. I'm gonna have to drop a game. Make content for. That is an inevitability, I think. At this point. I can't not. I can't not. Eh. I'm stuck. I can't see. I want to hit the other blister. Woohoo! Eh. Eh. Oh. Or that. Okay. I guess that works. All fixed. Drop Star Whale? Yeah. Honestly, out of all of the games I'm playing currently, Star Rail is probably the one I am most likely to drop, yes. Because the thing is, I really love Zenless. Zenless is super fun. I wish I could justify spending more time making stuff for it. Genshin is still interesting. Like, I'm not upset with it. I'm just very wary of the developers' decisions as of late based on how they've been handling other games and how they've handled this game in the past. But yeah. I have some really fun Zenless theories, and I just really wish that the Zenless lore community was a little bit more robust than it is. Be a bit sad. But hopefully with Season 2, we'll be able to do that. We'll be able to do that. I was ignoring stuff for a bit. Sorry. Jason, thank you for the super. New theory, Bifron's birthed Alice. There you go. Alice is a spawn of the mushroom god. That would explain many things. That also would be really funny. That'd be so funny. I loved Bifron's. He's my favorite. I will say, it is very interesting to me that they did the whole Ryan daughter ate the Shade of Life and then became the Shade of Life, or rather they fused together, is what I should say, that's more accurate. In the same patch that they released a chef, and they released a chef the patch after they released an eating champion who ate a lot of mushrooms. I'm not saying it means anything, but it sure does give you pause for thought. Doesn't it? Jack, thank you for the super. Hear me out. Nicole is the last remaining moon sister. I mean, it's a possibility. If you can eat the heart of a god and become a god, I fail to see the problem. It just means that, you know, anyone who's hungry enough and wants to get a little stabby might be able to, you know, have some interesting fun times. Oh, I think I'm supposed to hit that thing, right? It could be. Thing is, if Nicole is the final shade, like, you have to wonder what shade she is. She would have to be Istaroth, wouldn't she? Be time. That didn't last that long. Oh, that's why. I see. Give me my chest back. See it the first time. Oh, it goes back in the water. Fine. Yeah. Apple Bears, thank you for the super nice number choice. Feels like a lucky roulette spin. Appreciate all you do. Thank you. I appreciate you being here. Marcos Martin, thank you for the super. Ashley, as a descender, would you consider the Traveler a baby Eon or something else entirely? Any personal guesses? Yes, I have a personal guess. The Trailblazer is a Stellaron. That is my personal guess. I have a long theory about this, but I've already written half of it in the Star Rail version, so I don't mind sharing that. My current theory right now. Oh, actually, this is a good segue into it, actually. Have you guys seen this one theory? There's another Reddit theory. Reddit has a lot of good theories on it, actually. There's another theory on Reddit that was theorizing about why the nails are in, like the celestial nails are in the position they are, and they were suggesting that what it could be is that the nails were meant to be pinning Nibelung to the ground. So there's like nails in key points on his body. The interesting thing about that idea is that it actually lines up with theory I have in some ways. I have dubbed this theory the whale fall theory, wherein whales are dragons. And dragons, their corpses provide the seed beds for new life on different planets throughout the universe. So my guess is that Nibelung was a whale that got harpooned by a lot of nails. Got nailed pretty hard. And how does this relate to the Traveler, you might ask? Well, see. In the whale fall theory, this is just part of the whale's life cycle. The death part. When the whales die, they give birth to life. And when they are alive, they cause a lot of death. So, logically speaking, if you want the world to exist, Nibelung might have to, you know, not exist in the form that he currently exists in. Kind of the idea, right? So, just here. Yes, I was. Now the thing about the thing about whales causing planet-sized life formations is that we have a lot of sustains on this team for some reason. Is that they have to be at a cosmic scale, right? They have to be cosmic whales or cosmic dragons. They have to be space dragons, which naturally would help associate dragons with stars and moons and suns and all that other kind of stuff, right? Like they're part of the galactic ecosystem, if you will. So in Star Rail, we basically have these I don't think I can smash this. Can I? Oh, yes I can. I guess you can just attack these, and I didn't know that. Cool. Cool. Okay, so you've got big cosmic whales. The cosmic whales eat stardust and stars and like all of the raw materials that you would need to create life. And they're gonna get bigger and 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 bigger. And they're gonna eat and 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 eat. And because they eat all of this stuff, they become like this big amalgamation of cosmic horror craziness, right? And they're causing absolute destruction on the cosmos while they do it because they're just eating everything in sight. They're like a big cow. Eating all of the grass and destroying the farmland. And if we follow the whole logic of like, oh, wait. If you follow the logic of like, you are what you eat, then, you know, everything that they ate just kind of became a part of them. And they can only release it once they die. And they will die when they reach a certain size or a certain age and they make whale fall on a planet. And that's when new life begins. But I think at some point, life on a planet grows to the to its, you know, destined maximum, if you will. And then you have to start the cycle over again. Like this, the world has to be destroyed for a new one to be made. You can't make something from nothing. That's kind of a whole alchemy thing. It's an equivalent exchange thing. It's, you know, all that kind of stuff. So my theory is that at some point, these degrading, break. I wish you would break. It won't. All of these degrading, worlds, if you will, or sorry, when these dragons and leviathans and whales or whatever, these cosmic horrors make landfall, their soul's gonna split into lots of little different pieces. And I think they split into these things that we call astral spirits. At least that's what they would be called in Star Rail. And then those astral spirits should be able to reform into larger creatures again. And if we look at them as like little star fragments, then we could say that a star fragment is the seed of a baby dragon. And then a little baby dragon could grow into a big dragon over time and then eat the whole world and then rebirth it again. Do you see what I'm saying? So like my thought is that if the twins are stars, because they say they are, if we assume that stars are a kind of seed that from which you could grow an entire world, because they have to have a will to rival that of a world, to reshape the world, to reweave the loom of fate, if you will, then they are essentially the babiest of leviathans, or at least they are a fragment of a new possible world that could be created, is kind of how I see it. And that's why they're so similar to dragons without actually technically being a dragon themselves. I think that's where we going with it all. And again, if we go like to the whole Amphorius thing, you can kind of start to see parallels again. Like the Black Tide is literally just the abyss, and its power should be Kefali's power, and Kefali is the Titan that recreates the world from their own memories, right? And so like if you can only create the world, if a world is made entirely from memories, right? Like you have to be able to exchange an equal amount of materials, like equal to that of a world, in order to make a world. But those materials don't come from nowhere, so you have to melt the world down to reshape it into something else. So that's why the power of the Abyss and the Black Tide should be the same power as the power of creation. You see what I'm saying? And that's why Phynon is the Flame Reaver. Which means Nibelung might actually be the Abyss, which is kind of funny to me. Phynon equals Fane's theory? Yeah. I mean, they're obviously doing this in a very deliberate way, right? Like, and obviously they're trying to link it back to Paimon in some way, so they're kind of doing a pun between Fanes and Paimon. Phynon kind of thing. Also the fact that Paimon is kind of looking a bit like Kiana Kazlana, like a very tiny baby version of her, and then Phynon is Kevin, who is Kiana's ancestor. So like you can see the patterns that they're going for. It's not like super subtle. They're not subtle. Isn't the Abyss alien to Tevat though? They said the same thing about the Black Tide, but I don't think that's gonna be the case at all. See, the thing is, alchemy, I spent a lot of time, deciphering Anaxa's theory of soul alchemy. I spent a lot of time doing that, okay? Like a lot of time. And what I kind of found is that Anaxa's theory of alchemy is quite literally him trying to figure out how to use Kefali's power for himself in his own way. That's quite literally what he does. Are they just gonna keep doing that like indefinitely? Just keep, really? They just keep putting a new block here? That's really funny. Oops. Phone knocked itself. Humans are not the evolution of dragons? Well, yesn't. Yesn't. Because, you know, Titans are evolved from humans. We know that now. If Titans are analogous to dragons, then you could argue that humans and dragons, as well as humans and Titans, are more similar than you would think. Can I not break these? Why you no break? There it goes. There, it's breaky breaky. More breaky breaky. I think it's more like there's a direct lineage, right? Like, to me, it's more accurate to say that there's a very particular type of dragon or a species of dragon that's not the same as a human. I will point out that whale fall theory would suggest that that you would have lots of different types of life forms forming in the remains of the whale, right? One of those is chordate animals, and humans are technically chordate animals, so that checks out. But the other one is mollusks, right? Mollusks really like whale falls. And mollusks include things like sea slugs. And it just so happens that a lot of our sovereigns and even the melazines are based off of sea slugs, right? So, like, you can look at it that way. Whereas a big cosmic dragon, like a Dusk Leviathan in this case, would form the basis for a world to be built, all the raw materials, and from them you get multiple different species, right? You get mollusks, which would be the dragons, and you would get chordate creatures, which would be the humans. So, you know, it's not an impossibility. Like, everyone is related if you go back far enough. You know what I mean? Besides, if you think of Oceanids, right, as being, you know, sea slug affiliated, then that would make them mollusks. And if they're mollusks, that would make them more like dragons, which I want to point out, the people of Fontaine were originally Oceanids, which would make them mollusks that got turned into chordate creatures. And then we also have Durin, who just got human transmutated from a dragon into a human-ish dragon-type thingamabob. Right? So, like, I really think that what the point of what Wook was saying is more like, it's not a direct evolutionary line. Like, you didn't have dragons and then they immediately evolved into humans over time. It's more like they may share a common ancestor. Does that make more sense? The Hoyo loves the whales so much, yeah, they gave them a whole backstory in the game. That's so funny. One of my thoughts on the inspirations for Nod-Krai, Crossbell from the Trails games in Gotham, I don't like that idea. I really don't. I like the inspirations culturally. What they said about Gotham City and saying like Nod-Krai was like a hub, I'm like, you don't add a hub city at the end of your story. The reason Gotham City works is because it was a hub from the beginning. It is where everything happens, which is why you are there. If Nod-Krai is where everything happens, why were we not there to start with? Why, like, from a writer's perspective, that makes no sense to me. 0 sense. I don't know what they're talking about, other than just saying it's a hub city, it's where everything's happening. It's New York! You know, like, I don't know. Gotham's also not a hub conventionally, it's just the whole setting. Yeah, well, yeah. There is that. It's a different scale though, right? Like, Gotham City, everything takes place in the city, and like there's stuff outside of it, but like it is like where everything happens. So like it's so hard for me to look at Nod-Krai and be like, yeah, this is like Gotham City. It's like, no, not. If that was the case, it would just. This is one of the problems with having a live service open world game, though, is like if you want to do this kind of stuff, it is very hard to do it well and like have it make sense. You have to suspend some level of disbelief to make it work. As a writer, it irritates me. As a player, I'll just kind of shrug and go with it, you know, because the lore will probably be cool. Metropolis is New York but good. Gotham is New York but bad. That's the rule of thumb in DC lore. Fair enough. Do you think the Ars Goetia, Nefarious, and Cerberus are related? They have striking similarities. Both are three-headed canines. Yes. Actually, a friend of mine, Mystery, is writing a whole theory about it. She's a big fan of Risley. Obviously, Risley is a very big Cerberus inspiration. Oh, there's a... I wasn't paying attention and I didn't even... the oculi there. That's my bad. Maybe it'll take me up again. We'll just ride this dragon a bit more. It's fine. Yeah, so like I have mixed feelings, you know? I have mixed feelings on the whole thing. I'm sure like it'll be cool. That's like the one thing. I know it's gonna be cool. I know they're gonna pull off a lot of cool stuff. I know there's gonna be like a lot of really monumental and like just huge revelations. I know all of that and I am excited for those. It's just like as a writer, the writer in me is not happy, but the player in me is kind of like, oh, this would be fun. Cake, you know? The difference between it's a difference between a baker and just someone who likes to eat baked goods. The baker's always trying things like, this needs a little bit more salt, or ooh, I went a little too heavy on that vanilla, it's not perfect. But the customer's always just like, damn, this is yummy. You know, it's like that. And if you are both a baker and a customer, you kind of oscillate back and forth between the two mindsets. That's kind of where I'm at. So... Are Leviathans very different from Eons? Yes, the Eons and Leviathans were at war for a very long time and it almost destroyed the entire cosmos. And in fact, the whole thing about preservation... That was so rude! What a rude little thing you are. This is just... I've read this. Yeah, so I've got the baker and the hungry person inside of me. So like they're at war. Hungry person is like, feed me lore, and the baker is like, but this lore is not ready. Like, I do not care. Liquid batter is still batter and it is still tasty. You know what I mean? Those are the feelings. That's the sentiment. Good times. Baker mentality is a curse. Okay, baker mentality might be a curse, but think about it. You don't have good baked goods without having bakers. The baker's gotta hone those recipes or else you don't get the good stuff, you know? You gotta have that baker juice. Baker juice. Baker juice, baker juice, baker juice! Is baker juice just vanilla? That would make sense, right? Oh, that's milk. Valid. Yeah, you know what? You're right. As Future Canoe says, vanilla should be dessert MSG. would indeed make milk bigger juice. La 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 la. Though somehow excretes... What? I watch Future Canoe. Listen, my feed on YouTube is like the most bizarre mix of weird physics channels, history channels. I'm on woodworking YouTube. I get so many tool reviews that it started to infect people on Discord. They're starting to get things for like stumpy nubs and stuff. And then everything else that's not that is just food. My algorithm is kind of funny, actually. Yeah. Will we get a video about the recent events? Yes. Oh, how soon is soon? Okay, so maybe you guys can help me with this. So one of my big problems right now, and maybe this is a good problem to have, you know, like you don't just have one cake to choose from, you have like 10 cakes to choose from. You have choice. But with choice comes choice paralysis. See. I have a few ideas for stuff I want to talk about, but there's zero way, absolutely no chance I can make videos about everything I want to talk about, okay? I'm definitely going to be making a very specific Zenless video before season 2 comes out. So like I'm already slated to do that. I don't care if it does well. I just want to make it. I feel like I need some of those projects in my life to prevent actual burnout. And I'm actually pretty excited because I'm at a point with Zenless's story and lore that I actually feel like I have enough material to work with. Uh-oh. Dang. But for Genshin, I have serious choice paralysis. I was thinking about doing an early look at Nod-Krai because I have had a little time to sit down with it and look at some potential inspirations and that kind of stuff. And I thought that might be sort of fun to do. Obviously, we can't really look too much into the plot, and I don't think I'm going to do much when it comes... I'm not fighting that thing. I don't want to. Can't make me. So I thought we might do like a little bit of an intro to Nod-Krai, but then I was like, maybe it would be better to just wait? Because like we're going to have the summer event, and the summer event should foreshadow a lot of Nod-Krai stuff. So maybe it would be better to do everything then? And then I was like, well, in that case, maybe I should do more thoughts about Durin and go get the thingamabobber. I thought maybe I should do some stuff with Durin and maybe just do like a little bit of a Simulanka retrospective, you know? I thought it might be kind of cool to look back on Simulanka and see just how much of it was foreshadowing all of the events that we kind of went through. I want to punch it. I want to punch it. It won't let me punch it. Oh, there it goes. Yay, I got punched. Wait, no, I did the punching. I'm the puncher. I don't want to be the punched. Punch is also juice. Punch juice. I drink my punchy juice. A Simulanka, okay. Okay. I just thought it might be fun. Especially because, like, again, like, one of the things that annoyed me so much about Paralogism is the fact that they're relying way too heavily on 2 limited events. And I thought it might be kind of nice to revisit those and talk about what the deal could be there. Obviously there's, yeah. The thing about the finale of the deep stuff is like, That's all Nod-Krai stuff to me. So like if I was to do a an early Nod-Krai stuff, I would be looking at the finale of the deep stuff. I'm not sure how quickly I can do things because I do have. So I had a family emergency, like I said, earlier this month, and I lost a week of time, because I had to go down to Florida to be with family for a bit. And that's like semi-resolved, but also not. Like there's still so much that has to be done. And so like I'm trying not to lose time, trying to budget my time wisely. But it also means that I have to take another like 3 or 4 days off this week so that I can complete things that I was going to complete slowly over the summer, but now can't because I have to rush it to circumstances. So I only really have time, I feel like, for... I'll try to do both, but I feel like I want to do the whale fall video for Genshin. Like, I actually want to put that into a coherent format. That's not just me rambling on stream. You know? I'd like to do that. So I want to do that one, and then I think I'll have time for one other Genshin one before we get the live stream for 5.8 or 5.7. What version are we in anyway? If we're at 5.7, okay, 5.7. We're in 5.6 right now, right? Yeah. 5.6 right now. We're going into 5.7. 5.7 should be a pretty big patch anyway, right? Because we still haven't seen Dane. And if Skirk's getting dripped for next patch, then it might also just be worth it to wait on the Nod-Krai stuff for her. I don't know. Like, this is why I have choice paralysis. It's like they're giving us lore so quickly that I don't feel comfortable doing things that are just gonna like come up and then exact next patch. Like, I don't feel like I'll have time to do them justice between now and then. So, I don't know. I'm struggling a little bit. If you guys have ideas or, like, if you have opinions on what you'd like to see, let me know because I really need help prioritizing. as you can tell. I still miss the chest. Probably because it's down in the hole. We get to go in a hole! I'm gonna be a toad! Spelunking! La 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 la. La 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 la. Look at the hole. This is not where I'm supposed to go. The chest isn't here. That's okay. Hole. Badoobles! Will I die? Maybe. Oh, right. I forgot about this place. I didn't forget about this place. I just forgot that this is how we got to this place. That's a lot of damage. This place is wild. Okay, so one of the things I just realized this is an eye. Look at it. It's an eye. It's an eyeball. Yeah. One of the reasons I was so focused on the whale fall thing too is because I realized that through the process of consuming everything and then rebirthing things, like the dragons are actually performing the act of transmutation, which means that they are using their bodies as an alchemy cauldron, which means that they're likely doing something like spiritual alchemy, which I think is really funny. And if you assume the moons are more dragon affiliated, which I do because they're pictured with Niulung on a mural in Natlan, really want to go into the special place yet. 6. let's go find this chest. I don't know. It's up now. I hunt, I hunt. I forgot what I was saying. That's okay. Marcos Martin, thanks for the super. Leviathans and Eon, please. There's a Star Rail noob here. I have already made a video on that. I made the Star Rail one already. I'm just making a Genshin version. So, that's a whalefall theory. I am going to make it. It's just a question of when. It's just a slightly bigger project. It's going to take me a while. I like to try and have a big project and a small project going at the same time, so that I can kind of balance them out. Doesn't always work, but it's the goal. So, yeah. Oh, I got hay bales. Damn kid, thank you for the super. Everything comes back to Simulanka. Hell yeah. I mean, one of the witches' stories is there, right? Like it's all about it's all about M. I am interested in M's relationship to Rhine-Daughter in this case, though, because like M specifically went out of her way to provide Rhine-Daughter with an option, like a solution to her problem or problem child. I do think that's interesting. I don't know what to make of it, though. Not yet. I'll think about it. Drew Digi Holy App Labs. What a name. How did you come up with that? Thank you for your super chat. Goodness. What would make Genshin have a blacksmith event where we can all make weapons plus a new one for all characters and new characters and people plus dragons? I would say if they introduced weapon skins. If they introduced weapon skins where you could, if you own a weapon, you could reskin whatever weapon you wanted to look like that weapon, that would be a great way for them to introduce a blacksmithing type event that they could potentially make more permanent. Like, you know how they do the, like they do the music events, right? Like they do a lot of the music events, and then they made a permanent music event, kind of like just exist. Doesn't mean we won't have other music events, but like it's, you know. That's kind of, I would say that that would be a pretty good way to do that. But probably if they wanted to do that, they could probably do it. Oh, I can't go around this way. Okay. Hello, invisible wall. They could do it at Blackcliff Forge. Like, that's one of the places that they're probably going to try and treat as a loose end they want to tie up in Liyue, you know? Because we've been talking about Blackcliff for forever. And we still haven't been there. Still can't get there. So that would be a nice option, I think. Yeah? I think so. What do you think the nice that Paralogism's third floor is going to be? Varka's office. Maybe that's silly because technically Varka's office should be Jean's office, but like, I wonder if he has a second office. Like a private office and then a public office. Do you think Wanderer makes noises when he flies? Little jet engine noises? Probably not, huh? Oh, wait, what the heck? Did this just give me new chests because I picked one up and I didn't even notice? It did, didn't it? Yup, yup. It's fine. It's fine. I'm observant. It's okay. I'm observant when the spoons favor me. Have I heard the roar at the new boss island? No, I don't think I have. Are you talking about the, whatchamacallits? There's a banka thing around here, or do I have to come from the other side? I have to come from the other side. Okay. There's one up there. You have to run the whole way. That could be... Nope. I guess you go from the other side. Just come over here. Whee! The Secret Source Overseer. Yeah, I actually haven't fought it yet. Like I said, I was trying to take some time off to kind of like ascertain what bothered me about the whole Nod-Krai stuff. So I'm a little behind on exploration objectives. As you can see, because we're still, you know, in Tullen. I guess I shouldn't have gotten out of him. We can go look. I don't mind. Whee! Whee! Wahoo! Lots of chests. Look at me go. You know, back in like 2.0, I had a theory I wanted to write about tattoos and markings and why they glowed. It was a long time ago. I just think it's interesting that it started coming up in Natlan and not quite in the way I thought it was going to. Still kind of had the same implications, though. I was looking at it from the perspective of, like, all of the Adepti have glowing markings all over their bodies. And, like, Xiao's tattoo only glows when he's, like, in his burst form and that kind of stuff. And now we've got that whole Night Soul stuff to add to it. I think that is interesting, especially when you have Saurians that naturally have markings on them when they use phlogiston too, and the whole phlogiston carving thing and all that. Back in 2.0, yeah, long time ago. I never got around to it. I have so many discarded theories, like you guys have no idea. Should take you guys through my drafts folder at some point. Little buddy had a tattoo too. He had the mark of the Flame Lord, but the other markings on his body were the same markings as any other Saurian, I think. Ooh. Well, all cleared out. Well, if you're wondering what's going on up there, I actually haven't finished the event yet. I have to do the last leg of the event. I haven't quite finished. I tried. I didn't get there though. If I were the Abyss sibling, do I think the affairs of this world outweigh reuniting with your sibling and going home? Well, because I'm still kind of in Whalefall theory zone, I kind of think we can't go home. I think it's not possible. I'm almost wondering, because that is very Amphorius flavor, I'm actually wondering if our home was to that in the previous samsara, so to speak. And that's why we can't go home until everything's done. It would also explain why we are both alien to this world, but also very compatible. Eli Me, thank you for the super. Happy Halloween to you too. And actually, you're not as far off as you think you are. Because Walpurgis Night is basically Springween. Springy ween. It's a Halloween in the spring. Did you not know that? Oh, it's Rosie. Hi, Rosie. How's it going? It's been a hot minute. It's spoopy season. Did you guys know that D-Luke's birthday is on Walpurgis Night? A night that's associated with the Hexenzirkel? That dude is so related to that faction. I just know he is. There's no way they gave him a birthday of Walpurgis Night and it didn't mean anything. There's no friggin' way. That's his bug. That's fine. Luke is a witch? I'm not unconvinced that D. Luke's mom is Nicole. Not unconvinced. It's just, you know. I wrote a whole thing about it at one point. But at that point, I somehow missed. I missed the fact that his birthday was literally Walpurgis Night. D. Luke's dad must have been one lucky man to marry a Hexenzirkel witch. Well, I mean, think about it this way. He had, like, that weird delusion. Remember? He had the delusion that didn't look like a delusion that made, like, those abyss chains or whatever. How do we know that that's not Hexenzirkel stuff? How do we know his wife didn't give it to him? How do we know? Which Nicole in Genshin? Nicole is, you remember in Fontaine where we had to speak with a disembodied voice after we talked to Mona? And she has like that red tea set. And then there's also that disembodied voice that talked to us after the inversion of Genesis. That's Nicole. Yeah, she's N. She's witch N. Why is the music here so heroic? I don't understand. Like, this is the kind of music I would expect on, like, the final trek to meet the final boss in the final battle kind of thing. Like, where you're so full of hope. But this place is like a desolate wasteland of dragon technology. Like, I don't understand this music choice. It's so confusing. It's good. I like the song. It's just so confusing to me. This is what happens when the credits roll on an adventure movie. I thought you meant Nicole from the Cunning Hares. Hey, listen, Nicole from the Cunning Hares actually is based off of Nicola Copernicus. And she does happen to, let's just say, have some incredible intuition. And she actually does moonlight as a fortune teller. So it's not too far removed, actually. Someone in chat mentioned the 10th Harbinger. Would love to see a revision of your old 10th Harbinger video since it was pre-Arlecchino and Capitano actually showing up in the game. I don't think it's possible to really guess who the 10th Harbinger is at this point because, like, I feel like they either don't exist or it's Piero, or we haven't met them yet and we're gonna see them get crowned 10th Harbinger when we get to Shinaya. Or maybe in Nod-Krai at this point, I don't know. The thing is like, you have to look at it from like the constellation perspective, right? Like the constellation is a crying mask. Like that's the only one that we can't really place to anybody besides Piero. And if that is Piero's and he's also not the 10th, then that means we don't have a constellation for the 10th Harbinger and they never told us anything, which means that we don't actually know who the 10th could possibly, like there's nothing to go on at that point. Literally nothing. There is an old theory about the Traveler becoming the 10th Harbinger, but I don't feel like it works if you... I don't think it works if you still subscribe to the idea that rankings are based off strength. The way Child and others kind of say they are, right? It doesn't work that way. I don't know if Wei ever got around to making this theory. I don't remember. It never came across my feed. I never saw it in the sub box. I haven't actually checked his channel in a hot minute. So I really don't know if he made this or not. But he was working on a theory where the Harbingers were each linked to a different Sephiroth of the Kabbalah Tree of Life. And that would make for a far more interesting ranking system, I think, personally, than strength. And if that's the case, then the 10th Harbinger would just be someone who's most compatible with the 10th node or the 10th Sephiroth. So there's that. I don't remember what is the 10th? What is number 10? I don't remember off the top of my head. I'm looking it up. Oh, 10 is Malkuth. With 11 being Da'at. So, I mean, if it is based off of the Sephiroth theory instead, Malkuth is the world. Or like it's supposed to be like the material world at the bottom. Which would fit with the Traveler. That would be fine. Da'ath is more like the abyss sort of side of things. So that would fit pretty well with Child. Like the Arcana. No, hold on. Hold on. I'm gonna, if you guys don't mind waiting just a second, I'm gonna just... Okay. Sorry, that took a second. Okay. When I'm talking about the Sephiroths on the Kabbalistic Tree of Life, I'm talking about this. We've got, basically, the idea is that the divine passes through these different nodes and it's like an act of creation. I am extremely oversimplifying that, okay? Like that's super oversimplified. Please don't get mad at me. This is just for sake of quick argument, okay? So basically we'd have Capitano, Dottore, Columbina, 4 is Arlecchino, yes? It's 4 now, right? Yeah. That would make Wanderer 6th. That would make Puccinella's 5, yeah? 7 is Cendrone, and then Signora, and then Pantalone, and then the missing 10th, right? If the world is upside down, then 10 is 1. Yeah, it's possible. And then Da'ada's like out here, a little outcasty. Really not the person to ask about the individual Sephiroths. I have a friend who's far more equipped for that than I am. This is like super... Sorry. I got something in my throat. Like I said, my house is super dusty. I'm full of drywall dust. I really should have screened off my kitchen. I didn't. I didn't want to. So it's Crown, Wisdom, Understanding. So, I mean, that would work, right? Like, you've got the captain leading the ship, so Crown. You've got a Wisdom, that would be the doctor, so that makes sense. Acquiring knowledge. Bina, Understanding. Call him Bina. That would be so funny. That would be so friggin' funny, though, right? I'm just going there. Anyway. 4, kindness. That would be Arlecchino. She's exhibiting kindness in the House of the Arth, right? Yeah. 5, discipline. That would be Puccinella. He's the mayor. He's probably also a sign of law enforcement to a degree. 6 doesn't make a whole lot of sense with glory, but that probably has nuance to it. I think this is like supposed to be the glory of God. I think. If that's the case, then that would make sense for Scaramouche, because God device, basically. 7 for victory. I don't understand this one in the concept of, or in the context of Cendrone, but that's because we know very little about her, it, them right now. 8 for splendor. Also not sure how that would work with Signora, because I'm not entirely sure the nuance behind this. 9 for foundation would check out for the pants man, because banker, monies. Money makes the world go round kind of thing. And then if you wanted to argue that the traveler is the 10th, then you could with kingdom and kingship being the one to take over everything. But that check can also mean eternity. Huh. Yeah. I mean, I guess that would work. Yeah, that would make sense, though. Okay, eternity would make a bit more sense here. Given that we have, like, robotic creations trying to live forever, put your consciousness in a robot body kind of thing. That would make more sense here. So, okay, so you guys know how Albedo did that transmutation circle around all of Mondstadt? I was thinking about that. If you were to basically draw out the Tree of Life to use it as a transmutation circle, and you had one Harbinger on each of the little points on that circle, you could do some interesting things with that. Like, how many of you guys have watched or read Full Metal Alchemist? Because I don't want to spoil you guys if you haven't. How would Child fit in? We'll talk about that. I can tell Jibby has not played the Archon Quest. You got caught there, buddy. Okay. Well, in FMA, there's basically, like, they try to make a nationwide transmutation circle where basically any location that's, like, within its boundaries or on its points will get melted down to make Philosopher's Stones. That is, like, the super simplified version of it. But the whole idea is that like they're basically melting down nations worth of people. I'm just wondering if that's part of what they're gonna try and do with this. Now with Child, you'll see that there is an 11th node here called the Da'ath. This is usually like referred to as the Abyss in a lot of ways. It's another name for it. So that's kind of where Child fits in. He fits in by also kind of not fitting in. If you think of Child as sort of like the proxy or the inheritor of the role of Aias or Ajax, like the original one, not the one he's named, well, the one he's named after, but not him. He's just, would he be assuming that role? Then this would be a good fit for him to put him on Da'ath. Yeah. What in the Men of Lithin? Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Chat, did Ashley like the Archon Quest? I liked the Archon Quest. I just have a couple bones to pick with it. Mostly the fact that they're relying so heavily on 2 events that are limited and no longer accessible. That's like what really got me about the quest. Everything else I actually really liked about it. I thought they had pretty good pacing. I was really sad about no voice acting, so I did it in Chinese. Albedo's very light voice in Chinese kind of threw me for a bit, and I was really hard to associate with him because I'm so used to hearing Koi. But I did like how they went about everything, really. Like, I love the camera angles. I love the combat scenes. I love that they made you fight with the original Mondstadt characters. That was great. Except for Amber's section. Amber's section was kind of like, oh. Your kit really didn't age well, did it? Not Japanese? No. I could have done it in Japanese. The Chinese file was actually smaller, so I went with the smaller file. Could this be the best Archon Quest in a while? Honestly, yeah. I really, I do like the format of this quest, and if they do manage to make all of their quests going forward like this, then I will be very pleased. Regardless of what else they do, I'll be very pleased, because it will show actual improvement. One of my big gripes with Hoyoverse's writing team as a whole, like generally speaking, is that they very rarely show any improvement. Like a lot of times they'll say they're improving or that they're doing new things or that they're going to do better on one thing or another, and then they just don't. You know what I mean? I appreciate improvement over time compared with, you know, everything having to be good all of the time. If I see that the team's improving, then I'm usually pretty happy. I just, for a long time, have felt that Genshin's writing team has kind of been coasting when it comes to the main story. So I was very happy to see, that'll work. Oh, right. I don't remember how to harvest these. Do I have to smash them with a Tatanka sword? Was putting Dia in my party useless? Yeah, probably. Is what it is, yes. Am I happy Durian came back? Yeah, I'm saving all of my primos for him. I don't know when it'll be playable, but they're not gonna waste that model. So I want my little guy. Want my little guy. I see dragon, I pull. goodness. I don't like not controlling the Tatanka source. God. Horrible, horrible. Well, Capitano, listen, I think Capitano will be back. All right. I am actually pretty confident he'll be back. I'm not worried. I think it'll be a hot minute and his model might be a little different. But I don't know. I think the situations are a little different. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful. Back from the dead? Listen, you don't kill characters in gacha games. Not forever. My God. Let me on! Jesus. What do I think about Skirk being drip marketed? I mean, I'm excited for the people who wanted to play. Oh, I should have jumped. I didn't. That was my bad. I feel like Skirk is too much of a mixed bag right now. In terms of, I don't really know what to expect from her. And I don't know how I feel about her as a character, so I don't know if I want to pull her, but I'm very curious what kind of lore she's going to have, and especially curious about what they're going to do with her story quest. If they even give her one. Because, like, what do you even give? That's cute. Get me up! Get me up! What do you even give a character like that for a story quest? What if Capitano does with Ryan did with Renova? That could be really cool. Honestly, that could be really cool. So what's the odds that the Cryo Archon, whatever her name is dead and the Fatui are using her as an excuse? Very low, because I can't sell a dead character. Very low. I don't think they'll kill off the Cryo Archon. I mean, if anything, they'll just do the body double thing again, right? Like they'll kill off like a someone who looks like her. And Axa says hi. No one's dead in Amphorius. No one's dead in... I don't care what anybody says. Literally no one is dead in Amphorius. They're gonna bring everybody back in like a patch. I'm calling it now. 0 people are dead. And the thing is Anaxi even says that, right? Like he goes on, he's just like, well, you know, I'm not afraid of being recreated by you in the new world. Because I'll still be me, even if I'm missing some of my memories. And I'll just go find my memories again. He's literally just like, yeah, you just remake me. It's okay. It's cool. Whatever. It's fine. He's not really dead. None of them are really dead. Amphorius kind of irritates me. For a lot of reasons. I don't really want to talk about it. So I just feel like Amphorius right now, the way it is, it's like it feels like the writers looked at Honkai Impact and went, the Flame Chasers were really popular. You know what else is really popular? Star Rail. What if we merge this popular thing with this other popular thing and get this big, super popular thing? That's what Amphorius feels like to me right now. I would like them to change my mind. But right now that's a bit where I'm at. No one is dead in HSR, period. Yeah. Plus. What do I think about the Mare Javari? Will we ever get it? I mean, if we're gonna get it, I think we're gonna get it either next patch or we get it in the Nod-Krai year. There is a distinct possibility that next patch we do not get Mare Javari. I don't know if we will or not, but there's a distinct chance that we won't get it and that we'll get it, you know, in 6 point something. And if we do get it in 6 point something, then it is very possible that it might actually be more connected to Durin than anything else, surprisingly. Because Albedo said something about needing the Bakunawa from Mare Javari, which should be a kind of phoenix, I think. Do I think Xiaoji should be smited? Do we smote him? Xiaoji. Let's call this a hunch. I think Star Rail was doing something really cool and really interesting in the beginning. One thing you'll notice is that early Star Rail was very sci-fi. Right? We had space stations and robots and, you know, an armada spaceships and that kind of stuff, right? Like, it was very, very sci-fi. And we did go to like an underdeveloped planet, but it was still very sci-fi. And during that time, if you look at the YouTube channel, you'll notice that a lot of, there was very, I won't say a lot, you will see quite a few different promotional videos that were like interviews with astrophysicists explaining different concepts about the cosmos and the galaxy and space and science and that kind of stuff. They used to do that a lot, or at least, you know, regularly. And then one day they stopped. And the timing for them stopping those space videos happens to line up with the moment that they started being less sci-fi, which also just so happens to be the moment when Xiaoji was brought over from the Honkai Impact writing team. Is that a coincidence? I don't know. Maybe. Maybe not. Hey, that was so mean. That is so mean. Rude. Go away. What a rude dragon. Super, man. Xiaoji is a writer. He was on the Honkai Impact team, and now he's on the Honkai Star Rail team. His writing is easy to identify. I'll put it that way. I'm not particularly fond of it. It's very wordy, very bloated, very long. I don't like it much. Meanwhile, HI3 is now very super sci-fi. Yeah, what's up with that? What happened there? That explains Amphorius. It explains a lot of things, honestly. Yeah, it's, I don't know. It's one of the reasons I'm so mixed on Star Rail right now is like, it just doesn't feel like a space game. And it was supposed to be a space game. So, I'm mixed. It's mixed. You can ram into the dragon mech, yeah, but I don't like the Tatankasaurus. They don't control nicely. They not comfy. Don't like it. If I can avoid them, I will. So avoid them I shall. Even though a lot of this is, you know, Oresa is a lot easier to control than the Chunkosaurus, but I do not have her. So... yeah. Xiaoji is the dictionary definition of complexity for complexity's sake. Yeah, that's about right. I would say that's about right. That is more or less how I feel about his work. He has lots of great ideas, but I feel like he struggles to convey them in a concise and engaging manner. Yeah. But, you know, at some point, sometimes you have to just admit a game isn't for you anymore. And Star Rail's kind of becoming that for me, I think. It's starting to just become a game that's not for me. And I think the thing that worries me and why Nod-Krai bothers me is because I don't want that to be the case for Genshin. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it might be a bit of an irrational thought, but it's still kind of there. You can use Yansan's skill. Oh yeah, thanks for reminding me that she never came home. No! No! I never got a Yansan. I don't have it. She's not here. I tried. Get her. Why do I think Natlan is only 80% done and we aren't receiving a new region in 5.7? I didn't say that we're not receiving one for sure. I just said there's a distinct possibility. It's different. Because, like, if they do Nod-Krai, right? And Nod-Krai is supposed to be about going around and tying up all these loose ends and stuff. You gotta ask yourself a question about, I didn't really need... I didn't need to get on this. I did. Lava. I do like the grounds pound. Gaboosh. Gaboosh. Okay, I get out now. What was I saying? Oh, I was just saying that, like, they could stretch Natlan out a little bit, because, like, as far as I know, we don't know of any other places we could possibly go in Natlan beyond the Merjavari right now. So, I mean, it would make sense to me if they would want to save it for later and just kind of stretch Natlan out a little bit. But they could just add new spaces, I guess. More dragon underground spaces if they really wanted to. That's a possibility. I'm not discounting anything at this point. Thank you for the super, Peth. You think the writer for Amphorius is Fan Chuan? It might be. But I'm pretty sure Xiaoji's on the team. Because he, if I remember correctly, he was in the 3.0 special program, wasn't he? He's being interviewed for that. Because he was the one who said, oh, it's going to be a heartwarming story. I'm pretty sure about that. I think that was him. It wasn't? Okay, it was him. I'm not that crazy. I might be crazy, but not about this. Back to Kuki? Wait, why? Who was the writer for the Rappa patch? I don't know. I do not know. Did I not see everyone saying Electro before? Oh, no, I didn't. What were we saying Electro for? I wasn't looking. Oh, Electro can break the rocks? Oh, I didn't know that. I thought you had to smash them. Oh, I learned something. Whoa. Holy audio glitches. Holy audio glitches. That was fun. People said it was awful. I actually liked the Rappa quest. It was just long, unnecessary. That's kind of the big issue I have with Amphorius too, and Penacony and everything else. I know we're not talking about. I'll go back to Genshin in a minute. It's just they're very long. This is actually one of the problems that Genshin's had. They have it to a lesser extent, but like a lot of stuff is just so unnecessarily long. It's just long for the sake of being long, and I don't understand it. You know what I mean? It's silly. Like, I did an exercise this time when I was doing the recap for Amphorius 3.2, which is with my editor right now, which is the only reason why I have the luxury of being here with you guys tonight. Is because they are handling the editing for that, so I don't have to. I did an exercise where this time I marked down every single clip. I stole their apples. They don't seem too upset about it. Oh, damn. I wanted to commit arson! Okay, well. I don't know how to get the chest. It's just gonna sit there then, I guess. I lost my train of thought again. Oh, right. I did this exercise with the 3.2 recap where I actually wrote down every single clip and what information I got on what clip so I could explain everything. And when I was sitting there trying to explain Anax's alchemy stuff, I swear to God, I went from clip like 6 to clip 54 to clip 68 to clip 30 to clip 20 back to clip 5. Like, it was all over the friggin' place. And I'm just like, this actually isn't that complicated. But they cut it up and then like scattered it everywhere in such a way that it makes it sound so convoluted and so ridiculous. And like, Anaxa, what was your plan? What do you mean your soul alchemy left a message in memory? What now? When you actually sit down and like put everything in a logical, chronological order and remove all the fluff, it makes sense. But it's long for the sake of being long, and it annoys me. There were a lot of parts of Natlan that were like that too. Or it was just long for being long, like just so it could be long. If I hide under the bridge, can I survive? Yes. Feel the superior power of log. Oh, I still got hurt. Okay, so my log armor isn't foolproof, but it's working pretty good. Oh, no, never mind. I'm gonna die. My log armor was a failure. Run! Like someone was writing a 1,000 word essay Oh, yeah, yeah. Turning a 100-word essay into a 1,000-word essay. That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it feels like. If they stopped doing that, I'd be so much... Okay, I have to give a little bit of credit to Wuthering Waves for a second. I don't really have any intention of making Wuthering Waves content going forward because, like, I just don't think that game is necessarily for me. But I did want to, and the reason I accepted that sponsorship I did a little bit back was because I did want to, like, go and see how Kuro evolved after all of the feedback that I know they got in 1.0. And I really got to give them credit because they really did improve a lot between version 1 and version 2 of their game. It's like night and day. But the interesting thing that I noticed when I was playing through it was just how short all of the quests were. And it kind of dawned on me that Wuwa sort of knows their core audience pretty well. Like, a lot of their game was designed in a way, like, it as a response to people being very frustrated with Genshin's lack of combat challenges, right? People wanted more depth content. Bro's really good at that kind of stuff, so they basically just made a game in response to that. And I think the interesting thing is that people who are quite interested in the more combat heavy side of things and the challenges side of things, they tend to not have the attention span for really long quests. So it just makes sense that they would make their quests a lot shorter, and it ends up working in their favor quite well. So it actually ends up making a better experience, I think, overall. Because it's not trying to cater to everyone all at once. But I was thinking about that a lot as I was playing through that latest quest. I don't think I'm gonna continue with, because it's still not for me, but I did think it was interesting. This is cute. That is really cute. That is super cute. What the hell? That has no business being that cute. What the heck? Let him go. What story could do with all the rover glazing? Oh god, I hate rover. I hate rover with a flaming passion. Like, you have no idea. I don't think I've ever hated a main character as much as I hate rover. I don't want to catch it. It's so cute. Why would I catch it? Why would I stop this glorious thing? You thought the length of Natlan's Archon Quest was just fine? There was a lot of explanation that did not need to be explanation. It's one of those things like where you know, in the Nod-Krai video where they were talking about how they were going too fast, and what was they said something else. I guess I didn't write it down. I didn't write it down. What they said? What did it remind me of? Oh, it was the showing not telling thing. They were saying they were gonna try and like bring more of like the readables and stuff into the main quests and things like that. And like that's pretty good to do if you're not just gonna sit there and read the readable to me in the do you know what I mean? Like say the readable is like 1,500 words. Please don't tell me that you're gonna have Malwika stand there and like basically recite 1,500 words of lore to me. Don't do that, right? That was kind of how I felt in that line. Like there was a lot of stuff that I'm just like, if I was Malwika telling somebody about this, I would be using about 1/8 of the amount of words to do it. So it's like Nod-Krai is a retcon? No, not really. It's not a retcon. It's more like was just very ambitious as a company, and they basically took a bunch of seeds of different stories and they just threw them everywhere and said, okay, we're gonna have this magnificent garden. And then 5 years later, they looked around and went like, oh, shit. We forgot about like all of those seeds. We should probably do something with those over there. More like that. It's not even Mahuika specifically. It's more like, I don't want to catch these. They're too cute. I have double standards. It's not just Mahuika. I'm just using her as an example. Heck, this is... How am I supposed to, like... I can't... This is adorable. I don't want to hurt them. Bounce me? Kind of, yeah. Double soccer. Da-da. Up. Can you hit them? Oh. With Electro too, or is it just the rocks? Oh. Rip, I have to fight them with the bull. Of course, it's fine. Cryo Traveler's delayed. Yeah, someone pointed out that Cryo Traveler's actually in Albedo's trailer. And has been since it came out, basically. Not worried. Thoughts on the Bakunawa, a flame, moon-eating dragon, and the phoenix. Akinava, sun-eating phoenix in Merjavare, and the roars that we heard in the new boss island. I have not gone to the boss island, and maybe that's what we should be doing. Oh, that's why. I see. Why would I embrace the bull when I have Seat Lolly and Co? Why would I do that? I haven't even been over here yet, guys. Okay. I guess we'll try and get over there. Please tell me I don't have to ice bridge over. Oh, do I take the dragon taxi? Is that what this dragon over here is for? Oh, there's a Koholosaur to get there? That's less fun. But I will go find the Koholosaur. There's some lizards. Yes, lizards are the solution to all of my problems. Oh, I don't want to fight the dragon taxi. Running away! Goodbye! We're on the search for a Koholosaur. You just use Farina. Oh, right. Farina can walk on water. I forgot. Maybe we'll do that. That sounds easier. I don't know where the Koholosaur... Oh, the Koholosaur is over here. Never mind. Please. Sorry. Alright, let's go to Boss Island. Oh, does the dragon taxi actually do that? Wait, why is Jibby yelling at me? Am I gonna do a video for 5.6? Yes! I guess I'm gonna do a Durin Simulanka retrospective. What do you mean they just give you phlogiston on the way? I mean, Has anyone asked you what your favorite Saurian is? Ooh. Justice for the capybaras? Nah. They don't mind. They're happy. Now they can nap forever. I do love the baby Kaholasaurus. I think I'm just like really brainwashed because of Little Guy, but I really like the Saurians best, I think. Also, they look a lot like Sandslash, and as a kid, Sandslash was my favorite Pokemon. Turn the in-game music off? Do I have to in order to hear it? What's my favorite Pokemon now? I don't really play Pokemon anymore. It's one of those games that eventually just became not for me. I'm one of the very few people who played Pokemon to go through the story. Makes it easier to hear it. Okay. Do I have to fight the thingy to... Guess it's more east. I just need to aggro? Okay. What am I listening for? This game hits different when there's no music. Oh, nothing to do with the boss is on the horizon? Oh, okay. Okay. Is it this way? Look at the Misty Island. Where is the Misty Island? What Misty Island? Where are we looking? Oh, what? We want to go west? Someone said east. Someone said west. Where are we going? Northwest direction, kind of? What? Northwest of the island. Oh. Are we sure we're not supposed to be on this island? Are we looking over at this thing? Is that where we're going? No? Go back to the teleporter. Okay. This way? Oh, okay. Oh. The thingy... What do you mean the thingy is south and I went north? Everyone said it was northwest. What? What are you talking about? Oh, hold on. I'll boost the audio here. 18, the sky goes... What the... Are you guys just shitting me? Like, is that just like... Are you guys having fun now? Where am I going? Looking at the horizon. Am I looking at this landmass over here? Set time to 18. Okay. I'll set it to 1744. How far behind me are you? But I don't know. Doesn't sound like a roar to me. I don't think that's a roar. Yeah, that's what it sounds like. It sounds like a whale. Yeah, it doesn't sound like a roar. That sounds like a whale. I mean the mammal, not like a crying sound, like the mammal. Yeah, it sounds like whales. This sounds like whale noises. It could just be a bit of a, like a low growl. Yeah, but that's kind of what a whale sounds like. It's like that low rumbling. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sold on that being a roar. Sold on that being a roar. But anyway, I didn't really talk about everything I wanted to talk about, but I think we should probably wrap it up because I'm hungry and I actually still have something I have to get done tonight. Yay. Yay, work! All work, no play. Makes Ashy kind of gray and sad. Do whales enjoy podcasts? I should hope so. I get it, because it's a pod of whales. I like it. It's funny. Was wondering if you got my email about Kinria. Conria? I get a lot of emails. If I didn't respond immediately, and by immediately, like, I mean within a day, then I either didn't see it or I didn't get it. Thoughts on the Bakanava and the Akanava now? I don't know. If you have a dragon that eats the moon, all I think of is like dragon pearls. Dragon is moon egg. Egg moon dragon thing. That's all I can think of. When I think of sun eating bird, it's more like the sun just is the bird. It burns out, resets, burns out, resets, burns out, resets. So to me, that just seems like Mirjavari would be the realm of life and death. A cyclical kind of. Which game has the best MC? Zenless Zone Zero. Hands down. It's not even a contest. You want to argue that Bell and Wise aren't far superior to the Traveler or the Trailblazer, or, you know, like, you're gonna have quite the time. Weverse is essentially saying the Philippines is a hellscape, and that's really funny to you. Oh, you think the Mare Javari is about the Philippines? Yeah, well. Temperature-wise, maybe. It's very hot there, especially for someone like me who's very used to cold climates. The Filipinos summoned. Yep. I don't know. I think they'll do something fun with Mare Javari. I have only one. I only have one request, really, for Hoyo. I don't know if they'll actually do anything with this, but in that Nod-Krai video, they did start talking about how they wanted to start weaving story quests and hangouts into the world. And there could be some translation things here that would make that a little bit more specific. But the one thing I'm really hoping is that no matter what else they change, I really hope they don't change the format of the world quests. And the reason is because I think some of Genshin's strongest writing is in its world quests. And I worry that by introducing too many playable characters to world quest areas, I worry that you lose some of the stakes that you establish in those world quests, because playables won't die in a world quest. No. They can't have anything particularly meaningful happen to them in a world quest. And if they replace world quests with story quests, I feel like I'm gonna not feel very good about that. And I don't even know if there's a risk of that happening, but like, my one thing is that they leave world quests unchanged. That's my one wish. That's it. Do I really want all playable characters to die? Like, oh, just playable characters to die. I think when characters... If there's no risk of a playable character dying, then there are no stakes in the story, because no matter what happens, you know they're going to be fine. They're going to continue onwards, right? And I feel like that's just... I feel like it takes away from some of the what-ifs, you know? I don't like removing the possibility. I don't necessarily think that all playable characters should be at risk of dying, but I do think that there is an inherent issue with making your playable characters completely untouchable. I don't like it much. Like, Hoyo just released a teaser for a new game, which is like a Pokemon game, right? And it's got characters from Honkai Impact and Honkai Star Rail, and I don't think I've ever been more confused since Concord came out. Honestly. It's things like that where I'm like, if they make this a legitimate crossover where they have to like play back into their original games, then you're basically saying that because these characters exist in this game, they can never die in their original game, which also removes a lot of stakes for them there, which I don't like. But then you could also write it as a way of just being like, oh no, this is like an astral projection of Blade or whatever, and it's like not really Blade or Kiana. It's like, you know, like they could write it a whole bunch of different ways, but I just... I don't like when they take the stakes away from me. And it doesn't always have to be death. But I will point out that in most of the Archon quests, transformative change to a character is exceedingly rare, if not almost non-existent. Almost. How many times have you been through one of the story quests for one of your favorite characters and felt like they were going to come out much different on the other end of things? You know? The stakes were always the no-sees. But no, but think about it. If the stakes were the no-sees, right? And we've lost every no-sees except the Pyro one so far. That could change. We still don't know what they do. We don't know what the plan is necessarily. We can theorize a lot. And we know in the end that they're not going to kill off anybody. You know, like, they're going to do this miraculous thing. Like, even if they destroy the world, they're going to recreate the world new, but better. Right? And everyone's going to come back and be A-okay. And I feel like that makes a lot of things lose their meaning. You know? You think you dislike is faking death? It's like they still want the tension, but they don't want the consequences? Yes. Yes. That is a big part of it. That's one of the reasons why I like the world quests so much, is because you don't know how those are gonna go. Oftentimes it does result in a lot of death. A lot of death. And they're permanent deaths. Like, just take Jet's quest, for example, right? Like, she lost a lot of people. She didn't die. But the Jet that you met at the very beginning of her story was not the Jet that you parted with at the end of that story. She was a very, very different person. You know? So, it's just one of those things where I feel like there's a fair argument to be made that playable characters shouldn't be able to die because, like, you know, they're playable. You need to be able to bring them back in events and all that other kind of stuff. And I get it. I agree to an extent, right? But that's also why I kind of want to keep playables away from the world quests. So I really hope that they leave the world quests be. That's like my one thing. It's my only thing. My only thing. Everything else, I'll just, you know, it's fine. It's kind of whatever. We'll see what happens when we get there. Leave my world quests alone. I can live without everything else. Everything else can go. It's fine. Canonless, thank you for the super. Is the fake sky idea and the characters being similar across Hoyo games just implying that Genshin Tevat is literally the Matrix? I don't know about the Matrix, but I would say that, you know, it's basically just saying this is the Hoyo-verse. It's a multiverse. And if you exist here and now in this form, in this section of the universe, you will also exist somewhere else within the universe in a different form with different experiences that will shape you a little differently. And you may exist in many different iterations. So we'll see. We'll see. With that in mind, do you think the traveler anecdotes are a good in-between then? Yeah, I think so. I think so. I do think so. I am a little confused about why they are so intent on changing hangouts and story quests, though. Like, we haven't had a hangout in ages. Like, I feel like it's been well over a year, at least, since we've had a hangout. And I don't quite understand why they went with the Tribal Chronicles for the story quests. It confuses me because, honestly, it changed nothing. Like, changing it from a story quest into a tribal quest changed absolutely nothing about the experience. So I'm not sure why they want to do more of that. It's a bit of a mixed bag. Most people don't do the hangouts. Yeah, but it's not about them not doing or doing them. It's like, I understand changing the hangouts if people just don't play them, and you want to like move these interactions into the real world, like into the actual world. Like, I get it. That's cool. I'm game. I'm game. But like, I didn't understand putting story quests into the Tribal Chronicles, and I feel like they're gonna do something similar in Nod-Krai. And I don't feel like it changes the experience because people will still choose to either not do them or do them, regardless of whether they're Tribal Chronicles or story quests. Like, I don't know. I don't know. You 100% believe that the Natlan teaser and Name Forged in Flames is a post 5.3 Archon Quest, and there's a lot more to Natlan's story. I agree. That's why I think Capitano has a chance to become playable. Straight up, that is why I think he's likely to become playable, is because I think that trailer takes place after the Archon Quest as well. Agree. There's no treasure on this island, only a boss. Many people still don't do story quests. I know people who don't do the story quests of their favorite characters. So like, I like, part of me is just like, well, is there really any point to changing the format of them if like the contents are still the same? I don't quite get it. Kind of, I don't know. They tested out quest consolidation in HSR, and ZZZ announced like it's coming to Genshin. I don't agree about them testing it out in ZZZ because, well, I mean, they kind of are, but it's a little different. Like, I'm thinking about Ambi's quest and how it tied into the epilogue. That was a little clumsy. I did like that better, though. That made more sense to me to do because in her quest, it provided context for a lot of the, like, side stuff that was going on in the main story. And I liked that it got kind of separated out because it wouldn't have made sense to put it in the main story. But they really should have, you know, flagged it as something that we were supposed to do first. Really should have done that. It's being different and new for the sake of it. You can't deliver the same old boring delivery. People get tired of it. It doesn't take a lot of effort to do for them. Yeah, but I feel like those are the people who wouldn't do it anyway. So like, I don't know why we should try for people who don't want to do them anyway. You know, like I don't know. Maybe I'm just a little salty about those sorts of things. I just think it's a bit silly. I just think it's a bit silly. Does it matter in the end? Not really. I mean, you're gonna have an experience either way. You know? Like, you'll get to curate experience either way. I want to go to the other island because I want to see what's over there, and then I'm gonna end the stream. No, like I said, I took some time off, so I'm really behind on no phlogiston for this one. I'm really behind on exploration. Oh, am I supposed to dragon taxi there? Well, not gonna. Will the streets be playable in 6.x or 7.x? It's gonna be 7. It'll be 7. She won't be in the playable in 6. There's no way. They're not gonna do that. They'll probably give us a Saritsa equivalent. You know, like an Archon level character. Although I say Archon level like Skirk isn't coming out, and I feel like she should be considered an Archon level-ish character. Ooh, there's chests on this one. Look, it's a dragon head. We'll do this puzzle another time. Oh. Okay, I guess maybe we'll get that first. Thanking Levi to make him wine. He's outside. Is there a waypoint on this island? I don't think there is one. I don't see one. I don't see one. Can I step on the top of this? Yes! Aha! Invisible walls! I'm walking on air! Ooh. Oh, the northernmost point? Oh, there is? Wait, really? There is? Oh. I just got here a weird way then, I guess. Oh, you're right, there is! It's just hidden in the purple bushes. Okay. We'll unlock that and then I'm gonna wrap it up. Ah, yeah. Alice as a playable Archon level character in Nod-Krai would be awesome. I'd be so down for that. That is like the thing I am most excited for in the upcoming region is finally getting to meet my girlies. I wanna meet the witches. I wanna be friends. Dragon Taxi would have taken you to that waypoint. It would have been very slow. Me of the Dodoko version. I will never forgive them for not giving us a mini flying Durin pet or a little bouncing Dodoko to follow us around. We should totally have a little flying Dodoko to follow us around. That would be so cool. I'd be so excited. Little Alice Dodoko. You think Emily should have been part of the witches? I was so excited. I feel like Emily would be a really cool candidate for like one of the witches' students. You know, like a Mona or an Albedo kind of thing. That would have been really cool. A Lanyan Rattan figure as a pet? Yeah. Durin now has a human playable model? Yeah, he does. Well, I mean, it looks like it could be playable. He was kind of naked, though. So maybe they fix that first. I don't know why they really stopped. They didn't really stop doing pets. I mean, we do have a dragon. Like, we even got Soul Rush. If we can get Soul Rush, how come we don't have a mini Durin? Look at all my little cuties. We did get this guy. I still think this is Beatty Shweekwaddle. Because he's so cute. Look at him. Look at his face. Look at his cute little face. Love this little thing. This is my favorite Saurian. I know he's not official, but this is my favorite Saurian. Easily. I mean, there's no mini Durin's flesh anymore. We've got a clone of Soul Rush. I don't think that's a problem. I mean, we do have a Jumpty Dumpty Party Popper. I mean, I guess that counts. Something. It is odd that we have this from Emma. You can just use this. This is random sparklies. Since there's so much to talk about with eating hearts, what do you think about Senora and her inspiration of Itzpa Palotl? Ate hearts as well. Do you think Senora ate something from the Mare Javari? No, because she wasn't in the Mare Javari during the Cataclysm. I think her research could have been into something that came from the Mare Javari. I think that's possible. I think she may have done something with phlogiston, honestly. I think she may have tried to convert her body into raw phlogiston. What do I think the witches gave us in the Archon Quest? You mean the little star? This is a seed. That's my prediction. When did we get that? We got this from the Archon Quest. The one that just came out. After you pass the Hex and Circles trial on the chessboard, you get this. That's the moon? I mean, kind of. It's one big star with 3 little stars floating around it. So you could argue that it represents 3 moons plus the 4th Welkin moon. You could argue that. Either way, I think this is something akin to a seed. Yeah, a seed in a bubble. But I think there is one thing I want to point out, and it is all things a piece of furniture. Ugh. Furniture. It's this one. Okay, this one. No, it isn't this one. It's not this one. Although this one is funny. Because Kaya traumatizes the kids, saying that the lamps contain the souls of fireflies. Like your soul is made of light or something. This one, it's this one. It's Tranquil Starlight. Same exact shape as the star that we just got in a bubble. If you read this, it says, these crystalline pendulum-like lights resemble stars falling to Earth, just like the shining stars that can be found everywhere in the Temple of the Star latitudes. A special powder is sealed within the clear glass that draws light from the environment and allows it to emit light for long periods of time. And then it says, who can imprison starlight? All that will be left is shade. So if you imprison a star and it becomes a shade, and we have a imprisoned star in a bubble. In fact, we have 4 of them. And there are how many shades? 4 shades? 4 stars? Imprisoned in a bubble? Yes? Yeah? Cool? Yeah. The thing is if you consider the Traveler a star and they're trapped in Tevat, and Tevat has a dome-like firmament on it, is this not a microcosm based on a macrocosm where the Traveler is the star trapped in a bubble? Imprisoned starlight? Yeah. It looks like the stars from Mona's Quest. And listen, I know it looks like the stars from Mona's thing. This star here that you get is literally from Mona's Quest. This, right here. This, you get it from the Golden Apple Archipelago. It is from the Temple of the Star Latitudes. That was Mona's dream domain. Straight up. Straight up. Straight up. We are the 4th Descender, the 4th trapped star? Maybe, yeah. How is name Forged in Flames a year after 5.3? I don't understand. I don't understand what you're asking either. Oh, I think you mean, the name Forged in Flames, is that the, I don't know. I'm tired. You wanted to catch you to ask, is the dialogue in the Night Realm that you get after completing the Night Soul Pillar challenges referencing Skirk? I don't know. I haven't beaten all the Pillar challenges. Oh, they're called totems. Okay, Night Soul Totem. I thought. Oh my god, it's the Adpocalypse. This. Fandom is awful. I haven't beaten all of these. Have the dialogue on here. I don't know where these are. I would look it up. I just don't know where they are. So I can't answer your question. Okay, I think I'm done. I think I'm done. Oh, I just realized you can't actually see what I'm looking at. Oh no, you can. I turned the window capture on. It's fine. So many ads though. Jeez, they can go away. All right, I'm done. I didn't really talk about everything I wanted to talk about. That's okay. That's kind of the nature of streams. You just kind of meander and see what happens. Really can't. I'm not taking any more questions, guys. I'm sorry. I can't do any more. I've been doing this since 6:30. I'm a little sleepy. We'll do this again later. I'm gonna go finish up the rest of the work for the night because yes, I still have work to do. And then starting tomorrow, I get to start working on the Simulanka retrospective. So I guess that's something to look forward to. It's all right, guys. Thanks for showing up. I hope you had fun watching me run around catching treasures and rambling nonsensically. I hope it was fun. We'll see ya next time. Okay. Bye. Bye-bye. Bye. 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 Bye.